Hey guys, welcome to part 7 of my guitars. Actually, this one started life as my daughter's guitar, but we'll get into that. It's going to be mine eventually. Um, when my daughter was in high school, they had guitar classes that they offered through the band program. And my parents, being the king and queen of the rummage sales, anytime one of our kids or us had mentioned, even in passing, that, hey, we need something, you could count on less than a week later them showing up with a car full of things that we either did or didn't really need. Case in point, this time my parents found a guitar, electric guitar for my daughter. Came with a gig bag, the little accessories, everything with it, and I'm sure they didn't pay anything more than $20 for it. So they just were constantly the value finds, which kind of brings me to the other point. This being a first act guitar, I'm going to give Birdman a shout out because that guy is the king of the Goodwill auctions and Facebook Marketplace finds. If you check his channel, he's always finding something to fix up at a ridiculous price. Anyway, when she was doing her guitar lessons, they eventually ended up with an assignment where they had to pick a song that they liked and figure out how to track it, write down the chords and everything. And she was very into anime. I don't remember the title of the anime that she was watching at the time, but she played the thing for me a few times, so I helped her track that out. And it's always kind of cool as a dad to have your kids go, "How are you doing that?" Just because I was throwing in the little embellishments. I really wish I could remember what that was. I'll have to ask her and see if maybe I can do a short just trying to remember that again. Um, but as far as the guitar itself goes, I'd like to say that I'm great at keeping my guitars in great shape, but honestly, I think I've just been lucky with the environment that they've been kept in, that we haven't had extremes in humidity and temperature, because some of these have been neglected for a while until, like I said, I started getting into this and realizing I can fix these up. But it only needed a little TLC. It needed new strings, so since I was putting those on, I polished the frets up with a fret eraser and oiled up the fretboard. But other than that, this is as the guitar was several years ago. So with that, I'm going to go into a little bit of history on First Act, which I didn't actually think there would be much. I encourage everybody to go check out the Wikipedia because there's a lot more information on First Act than I thought there would be available. We kind of mentioned First Act in the same breath as Glory when we're talking about what we quote unquote terrible guitars. But from what I read, First Act, I think, started with intentions of being entry level instruments with aspirations towards competing with maybe the Squires and Epiphones of the world, quality wise. The company was first founded in 1995 by Mark Eisen, and its online presence first appeared in early 2000. They started out by manufacturing musical instruments as well as musical learning toys. They had guitars, basses, drum sets, band instruments of varying quality. Um, they were officially based in Boston, Massachusetts, but they also had offices in Bentonville, Hong Kong, and Shenzhen. They did also have a custom shop in Somersville, Massachusetts, that actually produced some more boutique instruments. So if you start looking into the history of First Act, you're going to find some things that don't jibe with what you're thinking about as a Walmart or uh, Amazon guitar. Just some of the ones were better than others. So the First Acts are entry level guitars with familiar shapes. Some are small differences, like the one I'm going to be showing you. Others, like their Tele model and the 222, look like a Tele model or an SG that's been maybe left in the sun too long. Um, like I said, they sometimes get similar criticism as brands like Lari, but at the height of their production and their marketing, they had endorsements from claimed endorsements from 136 artists, including names like Brad Whitford from Aerosmith, Bill Kelleher from Mastodon, Nick Zinner from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and Nick McCarthy from Franz Ferdinand, just to name a few. So some bigger names associated with that, as well as Adam Levine doing that signature model 222. So as we're going along, some of the varying models that we'll talk about. I'll probably throw some pictures up of these as I'm talking about them and just kind of rotate them with the titles on them so you can see what they are. They had some really unique instruments. Um, Starting with one of the ones that is more sought after than some of the others is the VW Garage Master model. Um, which was originally a 2006 collaboration with VW and was going to be sold with cars or packaged with cars as a bonus, with the intent of you plugging it into the car stereo and playing it in the car. Hopefully not while you're driving. The 222 was designed by Adam Levine, and I guess you could call that a signature model because he did design it with First Act. And the 222 model name is because that was Adam's lucky number. A lot of the other model names that you're going to be seeing up here, there's a lot of ME and then a various 3-digit code. I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason to the naming convention or if they just did them in order as they produced them. Um, but as you can see from several of the models, they did have some unique ones. And like I said, they uh, did at least dare to be different. And from when I go through the construction of mine, you'll see that it's not actually just plywood guitars. Yeah, they were made more cheaply, but it does seem like some of them were actually made in the USA, possibly with parts that were imported. Um, these days, I don't know when or if First Act is still producing actual guitars, because when you look up First Act on their website, it leads to Jazzwares, which I believe is the company that bought the IP of the company, and primarily it looks to be toys now. So just a far more interesting history than I thought I was going to find for something that people consider quote unquote toy or garbage guitars. And like I said, I encourage people to go out to the Wikipedia, start from there, maybe look up some more of the history, look on Reverb for some of the models. There are some interesting things. Some of them priced a little more ridiculously than others for what they are. Um, with that, I'll actually get into the specs of the guitar, show you a little bit. This one, it's a Strat type. It is the ME301 is the model. You can see it on the truss rod cover on the headstock. And the year it was manufactured, unknown. It was bought for my daughter around 2010. Some sites that, like I said, there's no real serial numbers to look up on these, and it's stamped in the back of the guitar, but there's no database that you can look up when things were produced. It does seem like they first made this model around 2004, possibly in the US. So, like I said about being familiar, but just a little different, this one's more familiar. The Strat shape's pretty much the same. The horns are a little different, body's a little thinner. It does have comfort cuts, and but the pick guard is where you notice things are a little different because they didn't extend it up the horn like you see on most traditional Strats. So it gives it kind of its own look. It's not too bad. It's rather unique looking, I think, and it actually plays pretty decent for what it is. This one weighs in at 7.1 pounds, so it's not terribly heavy. The scale length is 25.5 inches. And as far as the construction, the body, as far as I could tell from online sources, because there's really no way to see through this thick black paint, it's supposed to be poplar. It does have a maple neck, which is a pretty thin neck. It's satin finish, so it's not sticky at all. What looks to be a real rosewood fretboard and 21 nickel frets. The electronics are kind of unimpressive. They're 3 ceramic single coils, dime size pots, PCB switch. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just think that some combination of these, and you'll hear it in the sound samples, is making these a little muddy or a little dark. It's not as chimey as you'd expect Strat single coils to be. It could also be the settings that I'm using on the pedal that I go through, but this one, I don't seem to notice that with my other guitars. This one seems to be a little dark and muddy, so we'll see. Um, the nut is almost definitely plastic, or at least some kind of resin, synthetic something. It's not bone at all. It seems to be cut pretty well, though, because the action on it's not bad. The action's a little high, but the intonation seems to be okay. There's no buzzing frets. It's something that I'm probably going to remedy in the future when I do some work on it. The tuners are these Diamondback tuners. I'll tend to agree with Ted over at Ted Talks Guitars and Life. These are the worst. There's so much slop in these. When I took the strings off to change it, I was a little bit worried about whether I'd be able to get it to hold tune, but they are. They're hanging in there. So it's not awful, but they're a little stiff to tune, and the pegs wobble. The bridge, just a standard cheap strap bridge. It has 6 screws, the action, like I said, is awful high on this, and it looks like the screws are all the way up. I don't know if you can see that on those saddles or not. And it is not decked. It's floating a little bit, which is actually fine. I don't use it too much, but remains to be seen whether that'll be replaced or not. It depends on what happens with any other updates I do with it. Like I said, the comfort cut, I'm not certain about the width of the body. I'll have to get a caliper out and do that. The neck pocket is a little weird. You can see it kind of hangs over on one side, and it looks a little skinnier than a normal neck plate or a neck pocket. So I'm not sure. Again, I'll have to measure it. It could just be the way it looks to me, because like I said, the bodies are just different enough from normal. So I'm gonna stop here, throw my headset on. I think I did make some changes to my settings so that the ones with a little drive on them shouldn't sound as buzzy as before. So fingers crossed. All right, I'm gonna start with the bridge pickup and work my way up, and then I'll do that with the same with all of them. If I can find my pick. So this is the bridge position on a clean setting with a little bit of reverb. Bridge and middle, all noise goes away because of the humbucking. You can see what I mean. The difference is that the pickups don't seem to be really well balanced. It gets darker when you introduce other ones, a little brighter in other areas. This is just the middle pickup. Middle and neck. And then just the neck. I think out of all of them on the clean channel, I like the neck the best myself. But you'll have to let me know what you guys think down below. I'm gonna go back to the bridge. I'm gonna use just a little bit of overdrive. Bridge and middle. Yeah, I think that one's the muddiest, my opinion. Just the middle. Middle and neck. And finally, just the neck. Yeah, it does not seem to like dirt much, so this should be interesting. We're just going to kick up the gain just a little more for a different sound sample, a little more buzz. But I don't think these single coils really appreciate dirt all that much. They get really muddy. That's just the bridge. I did notice that with a lot of high gain, the single coils just for some reason make the reverb go bananas on the Pocket Master here. I don't know why that is. Could be pickup height settings, not sure. This is the bridge and middle. Yeah, even that is a little bit more articulate than just the single coils by themselves. Here's just the middle. Yeah, I think the hum gets picked up by the reverb. I'm not sure. Middle and neck. And finally, just the neck. Fat fingered that last bit, but yeah, it's something about the muted. Really sounds like you're playing into a drum, which I get it. There's reverb, but none of my other guitars, even another Strat with single coils, makes this noise. So I think there's something up with these electronics. I'm gonna turn that off, get rid of the hum here. We'll have a couple final thoughts. Take the headset off too. Uh, so I learned a lot more than I thought would be out there about First Act. That was interesting to me. Again, like I said every time, this is why I'm doing these. It's just very interesting to find out things that I did not know about things that I own. So based on some of the custom shop info, there actually used to be a storefront in Boston where you could order a custom made guitar, and they had displays, people doing luthiers. So it sounded like they had ambitions of being a bigger company. There's not a lot of info out there about what happened. I don't know if it was just bad reviews, bad quality, mixed QC. This particular guitar, it seems to be just fine. So uh, for would I recommend this for a beginner? This particular one, sure, why not? But if you were just going to buy one sight unseen, I don't know that I'd feel comfortable buying one on Reverb, especially with the prices that I've seen on some of them, unless you could actually see it in person. These are, I would say, not even like buying a Firefly or something sight unseen, because that's a budget guitar, but the QC on them has improved quite a bit. This is something I would say if you see something on a Facebook marketplace or a local listing for your local guitar center and you see it at a decent price, why not? I mean, if you're looking for a mod platform, this is definitely something that you could use to not feel at all guilty about trying a fret job or something on, because I'm certain my parents paid no more than $20 for this. I've got some guitars I paid like 35 for. Those are the perfect things that you want to try learning setups and everything on, because worst case scenario, it's a bolt on. You can always get a different neck if you jack it up. Um, So as for this one, we're gonna definitely change these tuners out. I am gonna get some kind of locking tuners to put on there. I'm not certain whether we're gonna stick with chrome or black. That all depends on whether I'm gonna replace the bridge or not, if it needs it. The electronics, I am probably just gonna buy a cheap loaded pick guard with some hot rails on it, just because it's a silly guitar. I've got some other good strats. I'd like to do something that's just ridiculous and see what kind of fun we can have with that. As far as being my daughter's guitar, she said she doesn't want it anymore, so I asked her if she'd be willing to work with me. I'm gonna get this pick guard off of here. My daughter is an artist, and I'm gonna have her do something kind of cool with it. We'll discuss what that is. I'm not certain what that's gonna be. I'm not gonna do a refinish, so it's gonna be something that goes with a black and white scheme, but I'm gonna have her do something that'll make it truly mine. It'll also make it special to me, because not only did my parents buy it for her, but then she helped customize it for me. So I think we're gonna keep this one around. just for that reason. And I like the different look. If I can get it to sound not so muddy and inarticulate, I think this could be a fun guitar to play around with. This could also be a great one to take along on trips with my Spark amp or something if I wanted something and not worry about one of my better guitars getting dinged up or broken or missing. So set this down. But as usual, I want to say thank you to everybody for just listening to me ramble, listening to me attempt to play songs. Um, if you like what you see and you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do. Either way, feel free to leave a comment below, suggestion, uh, letting me know what you thought about the guitar playing. If you know anything more about first act guitars and feel like adding something to the conversation, go ahead. Uh, but in closing, just again, I appreciate everybody stopping by. I hope everybody's having a fantastic summer or what's left of it, and we'll see you next time.